Hi guys, so as you can see, and maybe you've read from the title, I'm going to do today for you a wearable blue eye. This is actually what came out. So it's just, the eyes are a little more heavy, but the face is pretty simple and neutral, as are the lips. So if you want to know how I did this, then please keep on watching. Hi guys! As you can see, I'm not wearing any makeup, which I am going to apply in a little bit. I've just washed my hair, and so my skin's a little red from the shower still. And I've actually got this new blue top on, so I thought it would be fun to do a wearable blue eyeshadow. Because when people think of blue eyeshadow, they usually think of the 80s and like bright blue rim around their eyes and red lipstick. And that's not what I like. So yeah, let's get started. I'm actually going to pull back my hair first with this clip. So it won't get in my way. And apply my moisturizer first. This is Clinique's Moisture Surge Extended Thirst Relief, and it's a gel moisturizer. So since my skin is combination, it doesn't leave a greasy film on my skin, which I really dislike. So I'm going to place some dots of this on my face, then blend it out with my Real Techniques buffing brush. I use a little extra when I apply it with the brush, because a brush does soak up some of the product. But with this, a little goes a long way. So. At least for my skin. I am using my flip screen as a mirror, so excuse me for looking right there. It feels nice and smooth and moisturized. Just checking if I need a little extra, maybe a little bit around my cheeks. They are a little bit drier than the rest of my face. And the reason I'm blending this in with my brush is so that the bristles of the brush don't soak up any foundation, or less. Just for a little bit extra. Also around my eyes. Just a tiny little bit. And always do that with your ring finger, because it applies the least pressure of all your fingers. So, next thing I am going to do is apply my base. Some people apply eyeshadow before base, but for some reason I always apply my base first. So I'm going to use Nude Magique Eau de Teint, and I'm 100 Porcelain. I'm usually the lightest shade, so I actually bought this online and it matches me pretty good. So I am actually going to apply some of this on my hand and then add a tiny bit of Select Cover Up by MAC, and this is in NW20, to kind of increase the staying power a little bit. But I'm going to start with about that much. And it's really runny, as you can see. And it is a little tiny bit dark, so this will help with that as well. And this is really thick, so I don't need a lot. Like that. You can see it's a teeny bit lighter and it's running all over my hands. Just going to run that over my face. And then buff that in with the brush I just used. My Real Techniques buffing brush. A little left on my hand, just to cover some parts extra, like around my chin, the few spots I have on my temples. For some reason I always have a little red spot on my nose. I have no idea why, but it just won't go away. I'm going to take it down my neck. As you can see, my neck is a lot lighter. I do have a birthmark somewhere here. So if that is a little darker than the rest, that's why. I'm going to check myself. I have a slightly damp sponge here, which is from Real Techniques as well. I think it's called the Miracle Complexion Sponge. And with the tiny bit I've got left on my hand, I'm just going to make sure I don't have any brush strokes left on my face. Any imperfections you can still see I'm going to cover up a little later. What I really like about doing this after applying my foundation is that it presses it into the skin a little more. It makes it look a little more natural, not like you're wearing a mask. Some people might think that this is already a mask, but I'm used to wearing makeup every day, so this is pretty light for me. And I like wearing makeup. I do go out without it, but I like wearing it, so. There we go. I'm not going to powder yet. I always do that at the end when I've finished my entire face, just to make the makeup set in a little bit. I am going to use, it used to say Painterly, my Painterly paint pot for creating a base on my eyes. You can see I've hit pan. I've had this for a very long time. To use my finger and spread it out over my entire eye. It's pretty close to my skin tone anyway, so it evens out everything. Looks a little light now, but I'll go over it with another concealer later. So the eyeshadow I'm going to use next is in a MAC palette I made myself. I'm going to use this bright blue color. I'm pretty sure it's MAC's Deep Truth, but I don't know because I forgot to write down the names. So, sorry for that. But just to add a little bit of color, I'm going to use this with the Real Techniques brow brush. But I like using it as a eyeshadow brush. It's a little darker in real life than I think you can see. I'm going to get my mirror. I hope you can see when I have like 3 lines, and I'm going to add it until the first line, so when I open my eyes you can see that. I have my own coloring book. To add it with this first, just to get the shape, and then apply a little more with a smaller brush. So as you can see, up to my first crease. And slightly wing it out. But I am going to do that while blending. So after doing that, I'm going to take this little nameless brush and pack on a little bit more of that color, just to get the actual color going on my eyelid. You can see the color is a little more intense right now. I am going to blend this out, but I was using my crease for kind of like a guideline. I'm going to leave open a little bit on the inside so I can highlight that later. So next I'm going to slightly smoke it out. I have this palette by Hola, which is a Dutch brand, and it's slightly frosted like the other I showed. I'm going to use this blue eyeshadow. It's slightly darker than the MAC one, as you can probably, I hope you can see. It's a little darker, so I'm going to blend out the edges with that. I am going to use my Essential Crease Brush by Real Techniques. I think this only came in a kit, but as long as you can find a small fluffy brush, that's okay. Because I don't want to smoke it up too far. Just gonna put it at the edge. And slightly smoke it out. It's a little lighter than I initially anticipated, but we'll fix that. They look a little 80s right now, but so to soften it up, I'm going to use this palette. This is the palette I bought in my makeup and beauty haul. It's from Makeup Academy. It's the eyeshadow palette in Undressed. I think I'll be using this light brown color first, just to blend it out a little, just to make the edge look a little softer and less blue. Go over to blend the two colors. Next I'm going to use my MAC 217. Used to say 217, but it rubbed off, with the same color. Just blend it out even more. Just to make sure the lines aren't too harsh. As you can see, it's gradually going up to a lighter blue color. I'm going to add a little more of the dark blue there, the MAC color, with the same angled brush, just to make sure the color is still a little vibrant. So after I've done that, I'm going to add what is ever left on my brush under my eyes. Not too much, because you don't want to create bags, pretty much. For the last part, the eyeshadow, I'm going to use this light pink color mixed with the lighter color next to it, just to make sure it's a little more wearable. So I'm going to dip my pencil brush in there. And to lock it in, I am going to use a little bit of Bobbi Brown's gel eyeliner in black ink with this brush. Not too much, but when you wear colors like this on the eyes, it's good to make like a black line in between your lashes and the eyeshadow so it doesn't look too overpowering, if you know what I mean. Unfortunately, I don't own any blue liners. I would love to have a dark blue liner with this, but I don't have one. Gel liner is a great eyeliner to start with if you're like a beginner with eyeliner, because the consistency is a little thicker, so it's harder to make mistakes. And that's the reason I use gel eyeliner, just because it's a lot easier. I really don't like using liquid liner because it just goes all over the place and my eyes tend to tear up, so when I tear up, it'll just go everywhere. The never-ending struggle of making your eyeliner even. I've been getting a little better at it, just because I've been using eyeliner more often, but it's still a struggle. The struggle is real, people. Looks alright. And because my eyeliner is a little thicker than I'd like it to be, I'm just going to add a tiny bit more of the blue, the dark one. Just not too far up, not higher than your actual crease. Blending it out with a clean 217. just going to get my mascara and I'll be back. So the mascara I'm using is still the same one as I did last time I was using. And it's the Clinique High Impact Mascara in black. I'm just going to apply a very generous coat of that. Apply any mascara on the bottom lashes, but I am going to do it a little tiny bit. I'm not going to re-dip my wand. Next I'm going to fill in my brows with an eyeshadow called Wedge, which is rubbed off as well. This nameless eyeliner brush or eyeshadow brush. It's an angled one, and since this has a little bit of a red undertone, it matches my hair. Not too much, just to define it a little bit. Next, I am going to use a little more of the Select Cover Up under my eyes and a few spots. Not too much because it's really quite thick coverage, so you don't need a lot. It's really important to take away any blueness because you have blue eyeshadow on, it enhances the blue underneath your eyes. And that's why blue eyeshadow can look a little weird sometimes, but if you conceal right, there's no problem. I'm going to use my Deluxe Crease Brush by Real Techniques. I'm actually going to buff that in with my Expert Face Brush by Real Techniques as well. Just to clean up under my eyes. And the bit I have left on my brush, just going to conceal a few spots. A little more and then buff it in. Going to clean up under my eyeliner a little bit. I'm going to go over my face with this damp sponge one more time because I can see I have a few dry patches. It's just because of the weather, but just to buff it in a little more. To give it back my glow. I am going to powder with this Rimmel Stay Matte in 003 Beach Glow. I am going to powder, but only my T-zone, since my cheeks are a little dry right now. And for that I'm going to use another Real Techniques brush, but this time it's the setting brush. Under my eyes a little bit as well, just to set the concealer. The only thing I'm not really setting is my cheeks. The foundation has set already, but I do get a little bit oily on my forehead and on my chin, so just to be sure. You can skip this part, but I like doing it, so I'm going to contour with this blush from MAC. It's called Harmony. It's a matte blush, and it's a brownie tone, not too warm. I'm going to contour with this big fluffy brush. Only going to add product on the tip of the brush and use the rest of the brush to blend out. Just use the excess on the rest of my face. Next thing is blush. I'm actually going to use this blush, which is from the Urban Decay Naked Flushed Palette, the original one. I'm going to use my angled Sigma brush. I don't use too much, especially on my skin tone, because it is quite pigmented and because I'm quite fair. I'm an NW20. I don't have to use too much because I'll just look like I'm flustered. We don't want that. Just want a healthy blush. As you can see, I've applied a little bit too much. I'm just going to take my buffing brush I already used and just buff it out a little bit, because it has a little bit of foundation left on the brush, so it'll just easily pop out. From that same palette I am going to use the highlighter, which is that color, on my cheekbones. And last step is lipstick. This This is a Kiko lipstick. It's pretty close to my lip color and I use this pretty much every day, so it's gone down quite a lot. It's number $3.99. So blotting my lips a little bit. Sorry for the mustache. You can actually use a nuder lip with this. But this is just my everyday lip color, so it's just easy for me. I'm just going to slightly blow dry my hair because it's pretty cold outside and I don't want my hair to be this wet. And for the rest, I'll just let it air dry. I have yet to find good dark blue clip earrings, so I'm just going to use these white ones, which I really like as well. So I blow dried my hair a tiny little bit and put in some BioSilk. Yeah, I hope you like that with my blue top. If you have any requests or want to see more of this, yeah, please let me know. I really enjoy doing makeup tutorials, so